All right, people. So if you've been following the 2016 presidential election, you have probably seen Glenn Beck on the Ted Cruz bandwagon, supporting Ted Cruz, and not only supporting Ted Cruz, but just fucking trashing Donald Trump like he's Satan. And Beck has gotten ridiculous, and I hate the people really who bring religion into a political conversation, especially when they say, oh, God chose Cruz. Or even when they talk about, especially when the politicians do it. When the politicians do it, like when Cruz gets up there and talks about God all the time, it's just so fucking annoying. Because your belief in religion shouldn't have really anything to do with politics. And when it's coming from a guy like Glenn Beck, who has shown himself to be a fraud, pretty much, I mean, he's been shown using like fake tears and shit. He's been exposed doing shit like that. So when you see a guy talking about how he thinks that God has chosen Ted Cruz, it feels like bullshit. But when it comes from a more credible person who you can trust, I mean, it definitely seems like they're telling the truth. But when it comes from a guy like Glenn Beck, it's just like, okay, Glenn, you're probably fucking lying, and I'm pretty sure he fucking is. So let's go through this here. Is Glenn Beck delusional? Is he mentally unstable? Because I mean, look at these headlines. Glenn Beck comes out and he says here, if Cruz loses Indiana, I will be suicidal. He comes out and says that. I mean, just totally fucking, that's alarming right there. Apparently he said, if you guys, here it is, if you guys screw this up, I'm going to be pissed at you. Beck said in an Indiana speech. So yeah, there's your nice Christian guy right there, saying, I'm going to be pissed at you if you screw this up. He even admitted to, he's spent $500,000 of his own money supporting Cruz. I don't know if that's true or not, but And then we got this here. Beck, this is what I'm talking about, the religious side of it. Beck calls for 24-hour fast for Cruz before Indiana primary. I mean, see, join me for a day of prayer. I'm just so sick of all the religious people, claiming they're so these talk radios and the host and these pundits complaining about how, not complaining, but telling us how much, how close they are to God and how much they pray, especially when they've shown to be frauds. Like I said, Glenn Beck, I pray to God, I fast for, shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously, and again, they're just doing it to try to appeal to the evangelicals and shit, and and a lot of the Republicans, But like I said, when it comes from a genuine person who hasn't lied like Glenn Beck and is real, it seems a lot more credible. But I really hate when people like liars like Glenn Beck try to do it. So, that's what I'm really pissed about. And in Glenn Beck, let me just show you here. He, of course, started his media empire, The Blaze. Not an empire, more like a crumbling empire. And he admitted he laid off 40 workers, and he makes this speech talking about it. And in it, he talks about how great his company's doing, how they're getting out of debt, and how they're, at the beginning he, hired the wrong kind of managers or whatever to run his company, but now it got him into debt, but now he's on the right track, and he's shrinked his debt. And it's weird how he says how great he's doing when he's laid off. He just laid off 40 fucking workers, and he's talking about how great he's doing. I mean, what the fuck? That's what I'm saying. Is this guy delusional? And then you have a video of him. I mean, this is ridiculous. He mocks Donald Trump by covering his face with crushed up Cheetos, and his minions are just going along with it here. I mean, look at this, people. This is ridiculous. This guy has Cheetos on his face here, Glenn Beck has Cheetos. I mean, this is just fucking ridiculous here. I mean, look at this. Look at this, people. This is. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you? I mean, this is just laughable right here. But I mean, look. I mean, looking through these 4 headlines here, it really begs, the question: Is Glenn Beck delusional? We know he's a fucking liar. And like I said, I'm just so sick of all these people, bringing religion into politics. So, I mean, it's okay to, if you're listening to talk radio, and you hear somebody every once in a while bring up God. Like I listened to Michael Savage, and he was saying, oh, I think, it's God's plan to put Trump in. Who the fuck knows? But he doesn't talk about God that much. So I'm like, I don't really care when he says that. And like I said, he's a trustworthy guy. But when Glenn Beck brings it up, and it seems like it's all he talks about, is, Cruz being like the savior, the second coming of Jesus Christ. And then he talks about Trump like he's the fucking devil, like he's a racist, like he's Hitler. That's why Glenn Beck is so distrustworthy. And like I said, because of his past, the fake tears and shit during his, I believe, interview with, I think it was Esquire. I think it was. So, I mean, Glenn Beck is just a fucking fraud. And there we go, of course, Cruz loses because, like I said, people see behind the fraud and they see Trump's the best guy for the nomination, not Cruz, who's a fucking liar. And, you kind of feel bad for Glenn Beck, his empire's failing. He says he's going to be suicidal, but then again, we know he's a liar. We know, he's has been caught before, being a fraud. And, it's just, I guess you could say it's sad to see Glenn Beck saying he's suicidal, but at the same time, he got himself into this mess, and he, calling Trump a racist, saying he's Hitler, is just a fucking outright, absolute lie. He's falling right down the same track of your extreme Democrats, and but it is nice to see people like Glenn Beck fail. It is nice to see people like Trump succeed, so I'm happy about that. But, I mean, I'm asking you guys the question. Is Glenn Beck delusional? Do you think so? I mean, look at fucking stuffing his face in Cheetos. I think so. Saying he's, suicidal and talking all this God shit. I'm a Catholic. I'm not an atheist. But you could, really tell when somebody's being genuine in their faith and when somebody is just pandering to the crowd for faith. Like what Cruz did, with talking about God and everything, when he's lying about Trump all the time. Same thing with Beck. I mean, it just seems like he's, I don't want to judge anybody's faith, but my gut really tells me that Beck is a huge fucking liar about most of the shit he says, and about this whole faith thing. It definitely seems like he's a fucking liar. So there you go, people. There's my thoughts there on Glenn Beck.